All the way back there in 1984, that was, of course, Ray Parker Jr. with Ghostbusters, held off the top spot by George Michael's Careless Whisper. George Michael himself is, of course, now a ghost.
HTS-FM.
Here on Drive Time, we're talking favourite family movies, and joining me as ever is my illustrious co-host, Joe.
Great to be with you, Chris. Good afternoon, listeners out there in Radio Land.
Yes, you're tuned into HTS-FM as ever. I think we've had a few texts in, or some correspondence from the listeners, Joe.
Yeah, we asked people to get in touch about, Ghostbusters.
So what have they got to say out there in listener land, Joe?
Well, Christian Rizzo has been in touch, Chris.
Hi, Christian.
He says possibly the worst movie of the year, if not the history of cinema. I literally couldn't believe how bad it was. Had to stop before the 15th minute.
Brilliant stuff.
Troll Force has been in touch, Chris. He says, exactly 1 year later, I'm still a misogynist, sexist bigot for disliking this movie.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
And one final email from Omer Yilmaz, who says, I fucking hate this movie. Go to fucking hell, Sony. You can buy the critics, but not the audience. We're not blind.
I think that last one might have been about the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters, Joe.
I think maybe they all were, Chris. Maybe they all were.
We've got one final one, Joe, coming in from the texts. Harbinger of Ragnarok's gotten in touch, and he says women taking a successful movie written by men and trying to make it pass as if it was written by women is not a good feminist move. In fact, by doing that, they only show that women can't do any creative work without the help of men.
Thanks, Harbinger. I think Harbinger is actually a lecturer on women's studies at the University of Sussex.
It's 10 to 4.
Coming up, we've got the traffic and weather for you, but first, here's Flashdance. Hello and welcome to episode 83 of the How to Survive podcast. My name is Joe, and joining me, as ever, is Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good.
Good to be talking about a good film this week.
Yeah, family favourite.
Yeah.
It's Ghostbusters.
It is Ghostbusters from 1984. This is the original.
Yes.
Some people may have seen the 2016 remake. I know I have. I know you haven't. So we're going to talk about that later on in the podcast. But there will be sufficient warning before we do in case you don't want it spoiled. Yeah. Speaking of spoilers, they are coming up for Ghostbusters 1984. If you want to avoid spoilers, you've had 33 years to see it. It's not exactly a new film. No. But fair warning. Yes. Because we're about to throw on with the plot. Once we've recapped, we will discuss the ins and outs of the film and everything we need to know before we discuss how to survive the events of the movie. Yes. So Ghostbusters tells the story of Peter Venkman, Raymond Statz, and Egon Spengler, three parapsychologists whose department has been axed by their university. Raymond and Egon yearn to start a ghost hunting business, but Venkman remains skeptical. However, as a lifelong chancer, he's happy to go into business with them, provided that they take out insurmountable loans against Raymond's house.
Yeah. It's not a brilliant idea, is it?
No. Those are the startup costs, by the way, not just like loans to live on or anything.
Yeah.
At first, there's little interest in their new business, but the group is soon called to the New York Public Library to investigate a disturbance. There, they encounter a librarian ghost who transforms into a hideous monster, covering Venkman in slime and subsequently convincing him of the existence of ghosts. Egon Spengler is the brains of the operation and has spent his life developing equipment to defeat and capture ghosts. This equipment includes proton packs, which are kind of handheld cannons which shoot lasers to subdue the ghosts, and a box for trapping the ghosts once they're caught. Yeah. Since the proton packs are powered by nuclear energy, Spengler advises his colleagues not to cross the beams, as doing so would cause instant molecular destruction. Great.
Let's hope that they stick to that rule fastidiously.
The group heads to a local hotel to investigate another disturbance. The disturbance is found to be an incredibly foul-smelling amorphous vapour, known pop culturally as Slimer, is the green ghost. The Ghostbusters capture Slimer, causing untold levels of damage to the hotel in the process, but the hotelier is forced to pay their steep bill when they threaten to release Slimer again. Paranormal activity seems to be increasing all over the city, creating more demand for the Ghostbusters. They hire another Ghostbuster, Winston Zedmore, to help out. The Ghostbusters are hired by a cellist named Dana Barrett, who has been experiencing all the telltale signs of a haunting in her apartment, including eggs suddenly cooking on the counter, and a portal to another dimension filled with demons appearing in her fridge.
That is textbook ghost activity.
It is paranormal stuff.
Yes.
Venkman takes a particular interest in Dana and goes out to investigate the disturbance.
Because he's a pervert. Because he's romantic.
Yes, but he's a pervert and a freak and a creep. After he finds nothing, he begins harassing her. Dana forces him out of the apartment, insisting that she doesn't want his advances. But he says, well, what if I can convince you that I'm good at catching ghosts?
Yeah.
Will that make you go out with me?
Basically, what if I was famous, though?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
After several more run-ins with ghosts, the team's profile in New York is indeed growing.
Yeah.
Dana bumps into Venkman after a concert and agrees to have him over for dinner.
Yes.
Before Venkman arrives, Dana is attacked in her apartment by a demonic dog which bursts out of her fridge. A second dog attacks her neighbour, Louis Tully, and both are possessed by the dogs. When Venkman arrives, Dana claims that her name is Zool, a demigod who is a servant to Gozer the Gozerian, a shape-shifting god of destruction. She tells Venkman that she is the gatekeeper and asks if he is the keymaster. Meanwhile, Louis Tully, who previously escaped the building and ran to the park, has been taken by the police to the Ghostbusters. He claims that he's the keymaster and is looking for the gatekeeper. The Ghostbusters decide that these two should be kept apart. Meanwhile, an environmental protection lawyer named Walter Peck forces his way into the Ghostbusters headquarters and demands that they shut off the power. Despite protestations, his handyman pulls the plug on the ghost containment system, releasing all of the Ghostbusters' captured ghosts into the city. In the mayhem, the Keymaster escapes and makes his way to the apartment building. Consulting blueprints of the apartment building, Spengler realizes that the building was designed by a mad doctor and cult leader named Ivo Shandor, who declared humanity too sick to deserve to exist following the First World War. He designed the building as a gateway to summon Gozer the Gozerian and bring about the end of the world. The Ghostbusters are held responsible for the mayhem caused by the released ghosts and are placed under arrest.
Yeah.
Dana and Louis, who were both still possessed, are reunited on the roof of their apartment block, and they share a romantic embrace. This creates a portal to another dimension, which draws a huge crowd of rubberneckers to the foot of the building. The Ghostbusters are released from jail on mayoral warrant. It's a mouthful. The mayor lets them out, basically, is what I'm saying. And they're sent to defeat Gozer. They climb the building and confront Gozer. Initially, they're confused that Gozer is a woman, but Spengler reminds them that Gozer is a shapeshifter and can take the form of anything.
Pretty sexist to be to just assume that she would be
just because she's a god of destruction, that doesn't mean she can't be a woman.
Yeah.
A bit like being a Ghostbuster in many ways.
Yeah.
The group,
we'll get to that.
Yeah. The group briefly get the better of Gozer, but she disappears. Her voice is heard, demanding them to choose what form she should take next, because that will be the form of their destruction. Winston, Spengler, and Venkman clear their minds, but Ray is unable and thinks of something that could never, ever possibly destroy us.
Yeah.
As such, Gozer takes the form of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, a gigantic corporate mascot made of marshmallow. The Marshmallow Man begins pulling down buildings, but the Ghostbusters spring into action, shooting it with their proton packs. Spengler shouts for them to cross the streams to increase the energy, and Gozer is blown to smithereens. The explosion seals the portal, and the team free Dana and Louis, who have become trapped in concrete dog statues, and they will make it down to the street below, where there's a big parade, and everyone loves the Ghostbusters, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, you'd seen the film a number of times.
Millions of times, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's one of those, when you're a kid, you have a video you always watch.
Yeah.
This was one of mine.
Right. I had never seen Ghostbusters.
Really?
No.
That's unbelievable. Next you're going to tell me you haven't seen The Godfather.
I've never seen The Godfather.
That's unbelievable. Next you're going to tell me you haven't seen Lost World Jurassic Park.
I have seen that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Ghostbusters was okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just okay?
Well, why don't you tell me the things that you enjoy about Ghostbusters?
Well, this is where it gets iffy, because as much as I like it,
right,
I kind of don't think it's as good as a lot of people do.
Yeah, so it's got a sort of reputation, isn't it, and a legacy.
Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic film. It's a fun watch.
Yeah.
And it's a tight production.
Right.
But it's just a good film.
Okay. Yeah, well, I sort of agree. Yeah. It is part of the reason that I haven't seen, for example, The Godfather is because obviously part of it is just that I've never got round to it.
Yeah.
And
you're a film studies graduate.
that is correct, yeah.
And you haven't seen The Godfather or Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but then
Not on the syllabus.
No, exactly. I've seen like loads of other films
that were more important.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's sort of like the problem with watching The Godfather now is that I can never watch it without being like weighed down by the huge burden of expectation that's been placed upon the film,
right? Because
of how much everyone talks about it. And it was a similar thing with the Ghostbusters, I think, in that it has this huge reputation as like a beloved thing, and I'd imagine a lot of that is to do with a huge number of like vocal people, be it comedians in the public eye or people on the internet even, who grew up with the film, or it came to them at a sort of formative period of their lives.
Yes, I'd say so. We're probably about 10 years too young for it to be like have grown up with it, so to speak.
Yeah,
but I remember watching it as a kid, and all the sex stuff went over my head. But it's funny because Slimer's funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it has a sort of cross-generational appeal because as you say, is like Slimer is and all the icky like slime and all that is fun. And there's some sort of very family-friendly, palatable action. There are very like broad characters that are sort of have some fun to watch. But then also like it has an appeal to a slightly older generation because people like Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, they were the stars of things like Saturday Night Live at the time. And, I'm sure that a film called Ghostbusters starring the contemporary stars of Saturday Night Live could never be released without a huge amount of fanfare from, the huddled masses.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I think it's aged well, I'd say.
Okay.
Overall. Obviously, the special effects are pretty hokey now.
Yeah.
The Marshmallow Man's quite good, but the demon dog, where it's just like a bizarre like claymation.
And you can see like the
rotoscoped.
You can see the rotoscope panel as it's like running across. Yeah, I actually think that. And stop me if I'm getting too SJW here, Joe.
Right.
But I actually think that it's aged quite badly.
Right.
In part because of its sort of, in part because of just Venkman.
Yeah.
Because he's not a nice person, is he?
No, he's like just a creep. Like he's like, I would compare him to like Johnny Bravo, but the joke's on not him. Like Johnny Bravo is like, he's obviously a creep and that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas with Venkman, it's like, isn't he good? He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a creep.
Well, he's like you said in the recap, he's a chancer. So he basically like is never shown to care or about anything. Right. Even like when they're actually ghost busting, he doesn't like seem to have any like
investment. He's given up.
Yeah, exactly. He's a lech because of like he's obviously like we're introduced to him trying to basically manipulate an experiment to getting good with a girl,
lying to the participants.
Yeah,
and that's one of his students as well.
Yeah. And he's like manipulative of his closest friends, like getting Raymond to like triple remortgage his house to start up their business.
Yeah,
like we'll come to that later. But like he's basically just not a nice. He's like quite a cynical, lazy character, and I don't think that Bill Murray's charm like outweighs the negative aspects of his character for me.
Yeah,
and I think that. Like, I mean, I didn't particularly like the characters, but I thought maybe that's because they actually sort of created archetypes that we've now seen too often in like contemporary films.
Yeah, and Egon Spengler plays the nerd.
Yeah.
And he actually had one of the lines that made me laugh the most.
Right.
Which is when the secretary says to him like, do you read much? And he says, print is dead. And it walks off.
Yeah, like
that's his way of flirting. That's
good. I mean, he's all right. I mean, like, I think it's sort of like an action comedy, isn't it? But I don't think the action or the comedy is engaging enough to. It's a bit like that whole horror comedy thing, right? So it's like horror comedies typically aren't particularly scary or particularly funny. I think there's an element of that with this.
Yeah.
But then I think it does still work in a sort of very family-friendly way.
Well, I think it's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
The action.
So nothing wrong with that.
There's three main action scenes probably, like when they attack ghosts. But the rest of it is just like witty banter, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think they do pretty well. Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray, despite the undertones of it being creepy, they play off each other quite well.
Yeah.
It is quite funny.
Yeah. I didn't by any means hate or even dislike the film, but I didn't particularly like it either.
Why do you think it stood the test of time in its sort of appeal? Because, like you said, it's basically an SNL sketch that. Like I was talking to someone about this today. They said it is just an SNL sketch, which is a fireman for ghosts, basically.
Yeah.
But why has this stood the test of time? Where something like Coneheads, Blues Brothers, Groundhog Day haven't, even though they're from the same stable.
Yeah.
I mean, Groundhog Day is the better film, but it's talked of less.
It's not as well. I think that's probably because Ghostbusters as a brand is much stronger, isn't it? Like you get T-shirts with the logo on it.
Groundhog Day toys.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a very family friendly movie as well. So it's got sort of broad cross generational appeal. I think that. Yeah, I think it is a lot to do with just its sort of wide appeal and the theme tune as well. You know, that's like a disco staple, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Well, as in like, I don't mean disco the genre. I mean like disco is in like a school disco sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like cheesy track to come on. I think that's just, you know, it's very marketable, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's been franchised to pretty much every media you can think of.
Yeah.
We'll come to that shortly.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I think it's worth us acknowledging the 2016 movie.
Yeah.
But what I'd say, do you remember a few weeks ago we did The Exorcist?
Yeah.
And we discussed the exorcism of Emily Rose, but we did it in a sanitary manner to prevent any spoilers. And I think we should do the similar sort of thing here. So we'll talk about the 2016 Ghostbusters movie in detail after we've done talking here. There'll be a beep followed by us talking about that.
Yeah. But so if you haven't seen 2016 Ghostbusters, then you can choose to turn off after a certain point when the discussion will change from this film to that film.
Yeah, but that's a while off yet.
Yeah.
In the short term, do you think it's possible to watch 1984's Ghostbusters clean, knowing the sort of media furore and the culture that's been created around around the Ghostbusters in general after the last film?
After the reboot? I think, in all honesty, it has marred the image of the original by way of its fans.
Yeah.
Like it is, because the response to that film was unpalatable to such an unjustifiable degree. I think.
You're talking about the reboot.
Yeah, that it sort of has the sort of reverse effect of making me dislike the film by association with the people who so like unbendingly defend it.
Yeah, I mean, claims like having women as Ghostbusters ruined my childhood, or you know, obviously the racism and stuff that came with the tweets and things like that. That's awful.
Yeah,
but I having watched the film, I can just say it's a fine film. It's not
but
it's about the same, if I'm honest, as the original Ghostbusters. In terms of like, there's some parts that are really good, there's some parts that are really bad. It's just some people it's not like yeah.
Like I mean, there's a comparison I think to be made with something like The Force Awakens.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
In that they're both films. Well, I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters because I'm a sexist. But no, the Force Awakens obviously was criticised for taking a lot from A New Hope, and I understand that the Ghostbusters reboot does a similar sort of thing, but there's a very different sort of tone to the backlash against it.
I think it's just.
But and I should say as well that it's not like I watched this going, oh God, like the scum that like this film. Like I can't watch a single second of it. Like I watched it quite looking forward to it, and to be honest, it sort of slightly disappointed me. Like just again because of this whole like, you know, the weight of expectation that's unfairly maybe been like stapled onto this film. Like it's not the film's fault that it's had like 30 odd years of people going, Ghostbusters fucking it's my childhood, I worship it, and like Ghostbusters t-shirts and posters and, you know, whatever else. That's not the film's fault, but it does, you know, make it I think its cultural impact outweighs its quality.
The whole time you're thinking, like, what's the big deal? Like
yeah exactly.
Like this is not. It's not as if it's like a male affirming movie. You know, like I watch this and suddenly I understand manhood.
Yeah,
it's like a woman can't play this role.
We're discussing this after the end of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll pause there and come back to it later.
Put a pin in it. It's getting a little bit political, isn't it?
It's a little bit.
Should you inject some fun?
Yeah, please.
All right, I've put together an HTS favourite.
Yeah.
The quiz. It's quiz time.
Great.
Yeah, this is the
spooktacular quiz.
So we were in the same history class at school, weren't we?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
What did you get in the end?
An A.
An A.
I believe so.
Yeah, same.
Great.
Good for us. Do you remember the Ghostbusters module?
No.
No? Must have missed that one. Well, this is the Ghostbusters history quiz.
Great. Okay.
7 questions.
Okay. What from which source material are you taking these questions?
Well, all Ghostbusters history.
The wider universe.
From the first frame of the first movie.
Okay.
To anything that's come after.
Right.
So it's a pop quiz. You don't know what's going to come up.
Okay.
Multiple choice. So I'll read the question. I'll read you the answers. You tell me what you think it is.
Okay. Great.
Play along at home if you feel like you know your Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Question 1. In Ghostbusters 2, the team have been banned from ghostbusting after causing severe property damage. Ray now owns an occult bookstore and works as an unpopular children's entertainer with Winston. Egon works in a laboratory conducting experiments on human emotion. But what does Peter Venkman do? A. He hosts a pseudo-psychic TV show. B. He's a pickup artist training hapless single men. Or C. He's a con artist helping estate agents get better rates on houses by faking hauntings.
C, I'll go for.
It's A. He hosts a pseudo-psychic TV show.
Okay.
That's 0.
0 so far.
Yeah. Question 2.
Yeah.
In the animated series, The Real Ghostbusters, which ran from 1986 to 1991...
The Real Ghostbusters.
The team have adopted Slimer as their mascot and friend.
That's right, yeah.
Slimer had a number of enemies in the show, including Professor Norman Dweeb, an alley cat named Manx, a dog named Bruiser, a woman named Mrs. Stone, and a ghost gangster. What was the name of the ghost gangster? A. The Ghoul Father. B. Scareface.
Right.
Or C. Ghoul Capone.
Scareface?
It's Scareface.
Nice. Yeah, it's 1980s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Had to be. Question 3.
Yeah.
The animated series, The Real Ghostbusters, was named The Real Ghostbusters to avoid confusion with an animated series called Ghostbusters, which launched the same year.
Right.
That's Ghostbusters with a space, by the way.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Right.
Ghostbusters was based on a 1975 live-action TV show called The Ghostbusters,
right,
with a space as well.
Okay.
Which told the story of paranormal detectives Kong and Spencer and their friend Tracy. What type of animal was Tracy? Was he A, a bloodhound played by a dog with a sheet over it?
Right.
B, a snake because snakes are immune to ghosts? Or C, a gorilla?
Is it C, a gorilla?
It is a gorilla.
Nice.
2 men and a gorilla with the original Ghostbusters.
Right. There you go. I don't hear any people piping up
complaining how their childhood was stolen because they fucked up the 1970s TV show.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters.
Harold Ramis instead of a gorilla.
Yeah.
Question 4. The animated series Extreme Ghostbusters, that's Extreme Ghostbusters, not the real Ghostbusters.
Right. Is that Extreme Ghostbusters or Extreme Ghostbusters?
This is Extreme Ghostbusters.
Okay, right.
Launched in 1997 and ran for a total of 40 episodes.
Right.
It's set years after the end of the real Ghostbusters, and the team have gone their separate ways, except Egon Spengler, who stays in the firehouse to monitor the containment unit and take care of Slimer.
Right.
When paranormal activity ramps up in the city, Spengler assembles a team of college-age Ghostbusters. Which 90s TV sensation voices Roland Jackson, the team's mechanic?
Okay.
Is it A, James Vanderbeek, who was Dawson in Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
Was it B, Alfonso Ribeiro, who was Carlton Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Or was it C, David Boreanaz, who was Angel in Buffy?
I'm going to go with Carlton.
It was Carlton.
Yes. Great. 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. That's not bad. Three quarters. Question 5.
Mm-hmm.
A script for Ghostbusters 3, Hellbent, was penned in the 90s.
Yeah.
What was the plot? Was it A, the team are transported to Manhattan, a hellish alternate version of Manhattan, where all people and places are replaced by demonic versions of themselves and the team have to defeat the devil?
Right.
Was it B, a crossover with Hellboy, a property also owned by Sony, which saw the team fighting against and then with Hellboy against demonic tentacled creatures?
Okay.
Or was it C, Manhattan is taken over by a swarm of demons who enslave the town? Their leader is revealed to be Dana Barrett's son, Oscar, from Ghostbusters 2, now a Satanist out for revenge against the man who broke his mother's heart.
I'm going to go with A.
The Manhattan.
Manhattan.
It was Manhattan. Did you know that already?
I did know that one, yeah.
I can tell by the smug look on your face.
Yeah.
You let me read all those things out, even though you knew the answer.
There's an impressive invented options.
How did you know that? Just doing general...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably because there was a lot of articles about, the Ghostbusters 3 could have happened. Like, you know.
Yeah. Fair enough. Number 6.
Mm-hmm.
The mobile game Ghostbusters from 2013
Okay.
features a returning character as the main villain. Is it A, the mayor from Ghostbusters, who is taken on the advice of a powerful witch?
Right.
Is it B, the young man who Peter Venkman shocks at the beginning of Ghostbusters, who is now fully telepathic and out for revenge? Or is it C, a guest from Louis Tilley's party, who was bitten by Zool in his dog form and is now able to use magic spells?
Is it A, the mayor?
It is B,
the
young man who Venkman shocks.
Right.
He's the villain.
Weird.
built a game around that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Why not?
4 out of 6, Chris.
Yeah.
Doing very well.
Okay.
Final question.
Mm-hmm.
With the exclusion of Harold Ramis, who was medically unfit, all of the principal cast of Ghostbusters appear in cameos in 2016 reboot.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd plays a cab driver. Which line of pure fan service does he shout into the camera? Is it A, who are you gonna call? Is it B, don't cross the streams? Or is it C, I ain't afraid of no ghost?
C?
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Yeah.
And here's what he says.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Fan service, our favourite.
Yeah. So that's 5 out of 7.
Nice.
Well done.
I'm pretty pleased with that.
Well done. Chris, in the words of the ending text from the Ghostbusters video game on NES,
Yeah.
Congratulations, you have completed a great game and proved the justice of our culture. Now go and rest our heroes.
Great.
So, Chris, if you were to find yourself in Manhattan,
Busting ghosts.
yeah,
Well, earlier on in the film, we're given the warning that has become, one of the film's catchphrases: "Don't cross the streams."
mm-hmm.
And the reason he says is because there's like I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's something like there's a 99% chance that it will just eradicate all molecular life forms, in the universe immediately.
Yeah.
So basically, you're giving yourself a 1% shot of success, and it's, Spengler himself says it's astronomically unlikely that they'll survive their attempt to reverse the positronic flow or whatever it is without destroying the universe. So it is basically an absolutely ridiculous and unethical thing to do, to cross the streams.
But if they don't do it, the universe will be destroyed anyway by Zul.
Will it? So Gozer takes the form of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Right? Which, as it appears, is made of actual marshmallow.
Yeah.
Right? And when they destroy it, it's not like it gets sucked into a black hole. I know the gateway closes, right? But the gateway is just a vessel for Gozer to come through, right?
So Gozer's dead.
So Gozer is dead, right? But also Gozer is just made of like marshmallow. So just blow it up or set it on fire. It's just sugar.
Yeah.
So just like drop napalm on it or something. Like it's just going to be destroyed.
That's true. They didn't know that, though. They had to act quickly.
What? So the only option is either like we need to act quickly, so we better take this one option that could end all life in the universe.
That's true.
This is like if you believe in like multiple universe branching, there's for every one time this works, there's 99 other times where that is the end of all things and all time, right?
Yeah.
They have this. Like the Stay Puft Man as well. Like marshmallows, as far as I know, Joe, are weak to conventional Earth firepower. Right? If you shoot a marshmallow, it's going to damage it. Right? There's not even any evidence that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man kills a single person in its rampage.
Is it just walking around? Does it start pulling down buildings, or is it just like walking?
But what is it going to do? If they go back inside the building, what is a giant marshmallow man going to do? He can't like punch through brick because he's made of marshmallows.
Does like he's significantly big. Would say like 5 tons of marshmallow. That would probably break through a wall.
I suppose so. Yeah.
It's more like a critical mass kind of thing, isn't it?
Right.
Like one marshmallow I could throw at your head. It wouldn't hurt. But if I threw like a kilogram of marshmallows at you,
yeah. Was Raymond thinking of a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
perhaps not. Perhaps it was just a marshmallow man, and that's how like Gozer had to go with something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so it's like, oh God, like pickings are slim. He's thought about a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, so I'd better make it really big. Yeah. If that's the case, though, why didn't it just make it like 50 times as big?
Made of titanium.
Or, you know, just make it the same size as the Earth, and then he just eats the Earth.
Yeah, that would be more efficient destruction.
Yeah.
If your name's Gozer the Destroyer or whatever.
Basically, the Marshmallow Man gets like burnt or like blown up, basically.
Yes.
Because they're all covered in marshmallow afterwards.
Yep.
Which would suggest that, you know, if you destroy the body, then that's good enough. And also it would suggest that it is made of marshmallow.
Yeah.
So just blow it up with like a tank or something.
Yeah. Do you think maybe, and I'm just playing devil's advocate,
yeah,
could it be that Gozer's essence is in the marshmallow?
Right.
And by combining the streams, they kill the spirit of Gozer.
Right.
As well as blowing up the marshmallow body.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's difficult to say that. We know that killing Gozer closes the gateway.
Yeah.
Or Gozer is killed as a byproduct of closing the gateway.
I think to bring it back to your point, I think what you're trying to say is they should have tried out a few more ideas first
before they resorted to the option which has a 99% chance of ending time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough.
That's fair enough.
So I guess the advice, the How to Survive advice, the top tip is explore all your options before you opt for the sort of Hail Mary pass.
Yes, that's fair enough.
Good. I'm glad you agree. How about you? Have you got any ideas?
Well, my first idea is more of like if we go back, right? Mm-hmm. If we take it a few steps back to near the beginning of the film, they start the company.
Yeah.
They take on a heavy amount of debt.
Yes.
Meaning there's a high pressure to perform.
Correct.
Now, obviously in the end it all works out well. They make enough money to pay their insane mortgage somehow.
Yeah.
And everything's okay. Mm-hmm. But, you know, taking on that much stress is never going to be good for you.
No.
And it's avoidable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, when you're starting a business, taking on a massive amounts of capital for no reason is ridiculous.
It's irresponsible again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have run that entire operation from like an apartment or
that is true. Yeah.
like a shed.
I mean, you mentioned the loan specifically, the mortgage. Got a bit of information on the exact finances of the mortgage.
Okay, go on.
Because this ties in nicely to something that I was thinking as well. I think we've basically come up with the same point.
Yeah.
Over the course of 5 years, the Ghostbusters would have paid out in interest alone roughly the equivalent of the original loan, right?
Yeah. In 5 years.
Yeah. Over the 30-year life of the loan, they would have paid out a total of $572,045.27, or 572% of the amount of the initial loan. So they borrowed $100,000, and by the time the 30 years was up on that mortgage, on that loan, they would have paid back $572,045.27.
5 times over the odds, basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 5.75 times what they actually took out is what they'd have to pay back. Like, even without factoring in their monthly costs and their, general sort of running day to day. Yeah, there's no way that business is viable, like, from the start. Yeah, like, and by the looks of things, I mean, this links into something else that I want to bring in.
I don't know. I suppose for argument's sake, they made £1 million in the first year.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, we see them at their peak of their success, right? Yeah. They hire Zeddemore, right, as their fourth Ghostbuster. Yeah. Now, towards the end of the film, he says there's no way this job is worth $11,500 a year. Yeah. Right. So that's $11,500, which is his salary. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's around $25,000 a year. Right. Or $12 an hour. Okay. Right. Now, the New York living wage is much higher. It's something more like $14.50 an hour. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's just like what people need to survive. Yeah. Like, if you factor that in with the cost of the loan, right? For starters, if they're paying that poorly for what is a high-risk job, they're going to have a high turnover of staff, which, considering the apparently huge level of practical knowledge that's required to operate the machinery that they use.
There's training costs.
Yeah, that's going to end up costing them. And it could end up costing New York as well, and the city, the people who they are, apparently trying to defend, protect.
Yeah, I see your point.
It's like financial mismanagement from the top down from day one. Yeah.
But maybe they're paying him a very low wage. But like I say, maybe they're making £10 million a year and just paying him ridiculously cheap.
Yeah, but that's they might be doing that, but for starters, that's an unethical business practice, really.
Yeah, but that's it's an unethical business practice, but not to your shareholders.
Yeah, but who are the shareholders? They're just the three of them.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah, but then, like I said, Zeddemore, if he's in his right mind, he's going to get a job that does pay that, and then they're going to have to hire a new member of staff, teach them all of the things. Eventually, it's going to come back and bite them because someone's going to accidentally cross the streams when it's not right to do so, and destroy the universe.
But you only need one at a time. It seems to be the team of 4 is the optimum amount of Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Well, if it's the optimum amount of Ghostbusters, then they should fucking pay Zeddemore a bit more money.
I don't think so. If I'm running a company, right, and I've got a mortgage of like £500,000 over,
yeah, but our original point was basically don't take that mortgage out because it's an insane amount of repayment that you're saddling yourself with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't. If they didn't do that in the first place, then they wouldn't have to resort to underpaying their staff. Yeah, resulting in high turnover of staff, lack of proper training, and then accidents will happen. And that, like, the stakes are very high if an accidental crossing of streams could end in the
eradication
universe.
Of humanity.
Yeah,
that's a fair point. Do you think just pay Zeddemore more?
Yeah, well, I think, don't financially mismanage your company.
Fair enough. What I would have said is, when you're starting out, you don't need to take on that much capital, especially when it's a startup. You need first of all, they've never had one sale.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's like building a £50,000 website for sock hangers, which I just invented.
Trademark.
Yeah, which you don't know anyone's going to buy that. That's a lot of upfront cost.
It is, yeah.
And you're mounting this loan, and you don't know anyone's going to buy the product. My advice would be sell a few products first. Okay. Get the ball rolling, and then reinvest that profit.
Yeah, well, you might get investors if you can say, look, we've got a product, and here's, we've clearly got a market for it because we're getting people buying our product. Yeah. And then you don't have to saddle yourself with such a huge debt in order to just start up the business.
Exactly, angel investment.
But then it's Venkman, isn't it, who's seems to be pulling the strings here.
Yeah, he's the brains.
Yeah, but he's doing it in a very cynical manner. He's basically saddling his friend with insurmountable debt.
Yeah, for no reason.
For no reason other than what? Giving him a fire station to sleep in.
Yeah. All they need is a telephone line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be fair, though, I think Raymond's character is a bit of a dunce because he goes and buys like the hearse for like £20,000.
Yeah.
Or so.
I think it's like 4,000 something.
It's a ridiculous amount of money.
Well, Venkman's like doing that sort of face.
If he's shocked, then
yeah, that's true.
God Almighty.
God Almighty.
So what we're saying is better financial management and better business nous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hire a business manager if you're making so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Any more thoughts from you?
Yeah, I've got one more thought, and it's sort of the crucial moment of the film really is when Raymond thinks of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and so basically, Zool makes them, or like says like what form shall I take? What form shall your destruction take? And he's the only one who is unable to empty his mind of stuff. So I just thought, why not think of something that is like clearly not a threat?
Right.
So, I mean, like Zool appears to take on the real world characteristics of whatever it becomes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not Zool, is it? It's Gozer, as we keep saying.
Yeah.
Gozer takes on the characteristics of whatever it becomes because the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is made out of marshmallow. Although it seems to be able to be like a giant version. And it doesn't seem to have like any extra powers, like the Marshmallow Man's not breathing fire or shooting lasers out of its eyes or whatever. So just choose something that's either terrible on land,
like a giant shark.
yeah, just any fish. Doesn't have to be one that's got loads of teeth. Just like a ship, like a carp or whatever. Yeah, goldfish, whatever, or any sort of sea creature like coral or a rock or whatever. Right, a puddle of water.
Yeah,
just something. Yeah. Something that's easily destroyed, so like a bubble, or like something that you can disperse, like a cloud or fog, or something like that.
Okay.
Or a weather balloon, so immediately Gozer just floats into space.
Oh yeah,
and it can't do anything about it.
I wonder whether Gozer would what he did with the mascot.
Yeah.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Was took an idea and made it evil.
Made it his own.
So, give me those again. Shout them out.
A bubble.
Maybe he'd make a bubble that it engulfed the earth and suffocated everyone.
Right, but then you could just still pop it.
Maybe it was like meters thick.
Well, this is an assumption, though.
It is an assumption. But I'm saying here's a way that he could have used that against you.
Okay, fine. A puddle of water floods the earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. A weather balloon.
Yeah. Well, make it so big that the earth tips off its axis or something.
It drags.
Yeah. It has its own gravitational pull.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is all a big assumption.
It is a big assumption.
Like, I mean, surely you can think off the top of your head of things that would be better than like a giant bipedal marshmallow man.
A papier-mâché star.
Yeah. Is that just like a blob, like a amorphous blob of papier-mâché?
Like a bit of chewing gum.
Yeah, exactly. Numerous things that they could have picked. So you just think of something a bit less threatening.
Yeah, something that can't move, ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Good point.
How about you? Any final thoughts?
My final thought was: what if the Ghostbusters weren't there? What if ghosts attacked?
Mm-hmm.
What would I do? If I can't call them, what can I do?
Yeah.
So I did a bit of Googling. And this advice comes from wiccanspells.info.
Okay.
And it's a spell to banish a ghost.
Right. So Wicca, if anyone's not familiar with Wicca, it's like white witchcraft. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know enough about it. But yeah, it's spells, things like that. The banishing spell will expel a ghost from the world of the living and into the afterlife.
Okay.
Here's the spell. This is the incantation that you should use to get rid of that malicious spirit. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, May the wind blow you, wandering ghost, and clear the world of living, turn you to where you belong, and may you disappear without a trace.
Okay. It's quite poetic.
Yeah, that's the spell. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's only for Wicca. That's only for Wiccans.
Yeah.
And without using a spell, it's going to be difficult to get rid of a ghost, isn't it? And only witches can use the spell.
Right.
So for non-witches, Wiccan spells goes on. Non-witches who want to banish the spirit of a deceased person once and for all may need to use the traditional method,
Okay.
which is the most reliable of all.
Is that phoning the Ghostbusters?
It's finding the remains of the dead body, sprinkling them with salt and burning them.
Right. Okay. It's quite intense.
Yeah, that's traditional,
Okay.
according to Wiccan.
A lot of these ghosts, though, appear to be amorphous blobs as opposed to the sort of restless
Just
spirits.
like smells.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wonder how you can't find the body of a vapor,
No.
a level 5 vapor, and
Yeah.
burn it.
What is Slimer's body?
yeah, I don't.
What was he before?
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult to say. What was Gozer? What is Gozer?
He's a god.
Yeah. There you go.
The Ghostbusters killed a god.
Can't burn God.
There you go. That's that.
Yeah. Well, that was. I think we'd easily survive.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded that in about 2 minutes we'll probably start talking about Ghostbusters 2016. But if you don't want to hear about that, if you want to stay cleansed of spoilers, then just turn off in a minute.
Yeah.
Next week, the ghost fun continues.
Yeah. It's exactly. It's a very similar ghost film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laugh a minute stuff
Yeah.
from 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
That's the 2001 version, not the 1950s original,
Yeah.
sadly.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely mental and not in any good ways.
Tune in.
Yeah,
Tune in
I'm
next
not going
week.
to tell you to go watch it because you're not going to, and
Yeah.
you don't want to anyway, really. So
Yeah.
just tune in. We'll it'll be a good laugh. It'll be a good laugh next
Yeah.
week, I think.
Yeah. Laugh a minute.
Yeah. In the meantime, when there's something strange in your neighbourhood,
Email in.
Yeah.
HowToSurviveShow@gmail.com and get in touch on Twitter. That's at HowToSurvivePod. So yeah.
Chris, when you've heard a good podcast,
Yeah.
who are you going to call? 5-star reviews on iTunes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not at all clumsy or laboured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes if you've enjoyed the show.
And tell a friend. Call a friend. Tell them about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
About this episode and the show in general.
Yeah.
We're trying to reach as wide an audience as possible so that we can quit our jobs and do this full time.
Yeah.
Don't you want to see us mooch off you?
I tell you what, if we can do that, we'll do a podcast every single day for you.
Yeah. But we can't do that.
Weekdays, weekends off.
Yeah.
can't we? Like,
We're human. Come on.
Yeah.
But we can only do that if you share it with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So get to it.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week for 13 and Ghosts.
Yeah. 13 and Ghosts.
That's how it's stylized.
Yeah.
To suggest that that's a style is.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Who directed the original Ghostbusters, Joe?
Ivan Reitman.
Oh, not Lena Wrongwoman then who did the 2016 remake.
Very good. You haven't seen it though, have you?
No, I haven't. No, it's International Women's Day today, which seems apt.
The day we're recording.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, not the day.
Not the day this goes out. Or
Yeah.
probably not the day.
You were listening to it.
Yeah, statistically speaking, it might be next year, 2018.
Yeah.
But 2017 International Women's Day is the time of recording.
Mm.
And what better time to discuss one of the most controversial gender division movies of recent times.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Mm.
It is truly bizarre.
It's worrying, I'd say, because I watched the movie last night, and it's fine.
Mm.
It's just
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
no. It's bad in the same way that say a Judd Apatow movie might be bad. It's like a bit gross out. It's a bit silly.
Yeah.
It's a bit cheap sometimes. Like The Hangover. Hangover is a generally funny film.
Right.
Like, but it's got parts where you're like, okay, I don't find that funny.
Fine.
And I'm not like gonna tweet any of the cast about it.
No.
Be like racist. That's
Yeah. But even if it was that bad,
I don't think I'd be driven to.
There's not an excuse to then, tweet those sorts of things. Like, I understand people feeling a sense of ownership over a film or a franchise that has meant something to them in the past or in their childhood, especially. And like, I understand people simply not enjoying a film. That's, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, we like fucking do that often enough
for a living.
Yeah. But it's hard to deny that there's something a lot more pernicious about the response to this film.
Yeah. Well, if I was to dissect it, I would say it's people bandwagoning, like trolls bandwagoning together.
Yeah.
Like, it's not unusual. People have been hounded off the internet before. I mean, you've probably read John Ronson's book, Public Humiliation.
Yeah, you have been publicly shamed.
Yeah. About public humiliation.
Yeah.
It's just about like people, they get a bee in their bonnet and they just all attack together. And sometimes it's for like things people think they're doing good. I don't think most of the people here think they're doing good. I think they know that they're just being silly. And I suspect if you were to profile the people, they're probably teenage boys. Yeah.
And I think that it's the keyboard warrior mentality, in that not a single one of these people would ever say anything like this to a person's face.
No. Yeah. It does spoil the enjoyment of the film, because I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is fine. This is like I laughed out loud a few times.
Right.
There's some good moments to be had. Like Chris Hemsworth in spoilers, by the way. We're in a spoiler zone now.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth plays the secretary role, and he's meant to be like a facsimile of the ditzy blonde secretary who gets everything wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's very funny, and because he's a man, and he's like a muscle man.
Yeah, and like one of the world's most famous movie stars, and one of the world's most like handsome.
Yes.
Like.
Exactly.
Muscular men.
And the joke is...
He's Thor. Like,
he's Thor, yeah. The joke is, like, this is how stupid it is when women are in this role.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's just reversing it, and that's very funny.
Yeah.
If you don't find that funny, I think you're missing the point.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's even outside of this is how silly it is when women do it. Like, the joke is obviously that he's so clearly not the type. Like, regardless, even if it existed outside in a totally different film, it would be funny seeing an incredibly muscular man playing a secretary role, because it's such an obvious like reversal of that trope.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Expectations.
Yeah, and that is the basis of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one thing that really annoys me is that it seems like part of the reason people hate it so much is that they feel like it's somehow stopping like a Ghostbusters 3 being made. Right. Like, this has been made instead of Ghostbusters 3, like, which would be the film that they enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've made a Ghostbusters film for a different audience rather than for the fans, right?
Yeah, but Harold Ramis is dead, so they can't do it now.
Well, exactly. And also, they had a number of opportunities to make it, and Bill Murray didn't want to make it.
Yeah.
Because Ghostbusters 2 he thought was shit.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do another one. Like, as you said in that quiz, it was Manhattan. Yeah. That script existed, it was ready to go, and Bill Murray didn't want to do it. So if you want to blame anyone, don't fucking blame Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy and Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon and Paul Feig. Blame fucking Bill Murray, your favourite man in the world,
who's ruined your childhood for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, what another thing that annoys me is that it's like that fact, like that there's not a Ghostbusters 3 with the old cast in it, is used as like a stick to beat this new film, right? As though like they would all hate this new film,
but they're in it
exactly, which is ridiculous because they all appear in it and
produced it.
Yeah, and like they're on Jimmy Kimmel with the new cast, all on the same show, and Bill Murray says like, me, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson and Annie Potts were all screaming and cheering like we were at a sporting event when they were watching the film. That doesn't sound to me like they're going, oh, I'm really annoyed that Sony made this feminist Ghostbusters film rather than letting me, Bill Murray, finally make Ghostbusters 3, which would have been brilliant.
Well, this brings me nicely, Chris, to what I've got here, which is I was reading through the YouTube comments on the trailer of the movie.
Yeah.
And someone's listed out all their problems with it. And these seem to be like, if you were to boil it down, these are the 10 issues which come up most of the time with people complaining about this film.
Okay. Are you going to issue like a step-by-step rebuttal?
Yeah, I think I probably will.
Okay.
So the intro, I don't know who posted it. I didn't take their name, but some twat.
Some motherfucker.
If you do hate the film simply for gimmick's sake, I'll just go ahead here and give you some dazzling examples of why your hatred is justified. Whether or not you've seen this.
Sorry, hang on. So he's saying if you're just jumping on the bandwagon, let me give you some reasons that you can use as an excuse to hate it.
Even if you've seen it, even if you've not seen it.
Yeah. Fine.
As well, if you haven't seen it, you'll be saving yourself 2 agonizing hours of feminist propaganda.
Right. Okay.
Because that's what the film, of course, was. It was just a comedy with women in it.
Yeah.
Number 1, queef jokes. A queef is a fart from your vagina.
Right.
There's one in the film, which is fine. It's a fart. Like the way it works, right, is Melissa McCarthy and the Kate McKinnon.
Yeah.
They're saying something to Kristen Wiig, and they're like, "Listen closely," and they will lean in, and then one of them farts,
right,
and says, "Oh, that was my front hole,"
right,
and it's like, "Okay, great, gross out."
Yeah, it's like Bridesmaids-esque, which is Paul Feig's other film, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's fine. That's
fine. Like I like it. I might not laugh at it, but also I'm not going fucking feminists. If only Bill Murray was on the screen doing a fart joke.
Like if it was a bloke doing a fart out of his ass.
Yeah, that'd be like, fine. Or a man doing a dick fart.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 2, all males are either pricks or stupid.
Right.
Well, that's because there's only like 2 in the film.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's fine because that's the fact that that's an issue.
Yeah.
The fact that you can be like, think of a typical film.
Yeah.
But one woman in it.
Yeah.
Who's either a prick or stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just watch literally 99.9% of all other movies.
Number 3, villain ghost shots in the balls. Do you know how it ends?
No.
Can I spoil it?
Yeah. Does the villain ghost get shot in the balls?
Yeah, the villain ghost, the big like marshmallow man, is actually the Ghostbusters logo.
Right.
Similar sort of thing, the way it comes up.
Okay.
But they shoot it in the balls. But it's not like, hey, let's hit it in the nuts. It's like they all shoot it and they all just happen to go for its balls. And then one of them says, did we all mean to do that? And they're like, oh yeah, good one. And that's like, fine.
Yeah.
That's patriarchy. Take that.
Yeah.
5, they literally pause the movie to not once but twice to stop and hop on YouTube to get an update on how everyone hates them. So that the joke there is that they put an advert out and they check and people are like, why would I want you bitches to save me from the ghosts? And it's like they're satirizing the criticism they got for, which is funny.
Yeah.
I don't
it's not funny, Joe. It's
feminist propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. How can you fucking hell? So you are part like a movement of, because I mean part of the thing is that all of these negative comments came out. I mean, a vast majority of them came out a long time before the film even came out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like they were unjustified in the sense that no one making those comments had seen the film.
No, they were just reviewing the trailer.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they then put that in the film, poking fun at it, and that makes them even angrier.
Mental. Number 6, the director seemed to think having them dance every 20 minutes can solve anything.
Right.
There's one dance scene,
okay,
and it's done for laughs because Kristen Wiig's trying to dance with Thor, and he dances with Patty instead.
Okay.
And she feels spurn.
Right.
That's it. I can get over it. Number 7, atrociously abhorrent and cheap-looking CGI. Seriously, the effects from the original are more believable.
I think Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy actually did the effects themselves. Yeah,
and also they are not better than the original. The original ones were shit.
Yeah.
So
sorry, you mean they are better than the original?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Number 8. This is the one that brought me to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You will not see Bill Murray looking any more miserable in your whole life. I can't envision him looking that depressed and spiteful in real life, let alone a comedy. No, he was not acting. He was only there under threat of being sued.
What about, what's his name? He doesn't appear in it.
What?
The neighbour. What's his name?
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis isn't in the remake, is he?
He's been sued, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Has he been? Yeah, he must. I presume legal action is being taken as we speak.
Number 9. All cameos are pointless and just depressing.
Right.
If they were trying to reboot the franchise, why were all the original cast members there as different characters? Either as a passing of the torch, I'd say, or just because it's a nice little fan service.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Last one. You will not be unable to take Chris Hemsworth seriously ever again.
So you'll just have to take him seriously.
The Avengers movies are ruined for me. There, 10 reasons to hate this movie for the Cliff Notes savvy.
Great.
And mind you, this is probably only a fraction of what makes this movie fucking terrible. It was fine. Like, it was fine. It was quite funny.
Great.
So that's that. It's unjustified. All this furore is just kids on social media. That's my opinion on it. And it is like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like belittle it, because it obviously the things like we said to Leslie Jones in particular, were very bad. And
those
they're
were
reprehensible,
disgusting. Yeah.
And that's the dark side of the internet.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, people complaining about the film are just like, just get over it. It's just the film. I can't know what to tell you, Chris. You can go watch it now?
No, because I hate women.